Hi. So, as Leonard Cornwell said that in his song, he was hoping that one world will come out of World War II. What a fool! So this is what this situation has brought us to as well, and this battle of between the East and the West is carrying on, and um, and what we should know what this guy Putin is fighting. He's really fighting this crumbling system that is changing like every day, that is canceling all of his rules in order to win. So it's a completely proud, smug empire that has led for so long by its indifference that it doesn't even know that it's indifferent. It's completely oblivious. Its existence has been based on such for so long that they can't distinguish the difference. So these rules that are changing in this international law that is hugely affected by the situation is becoming more and more corrupt, and it's really something that is very very tough to get out from an outside factor. So they will not understand anything that is being said to them. First of all, they've eliminated this freedom of speech by like eliminating Russians' point of view. They just want like Russia not to exist because it's not in their interest. They don't like it. They don't like it. So shut it down. Ignore it. Don't allow it to exist. So this is the kind of mentality that we're dealing with, and that Putin is dealing with. So this should be known. Whether Putin had imperialistic any kind of ambitions, I don't think so. Okay, this is just my opinion, but I'm right lately, so I don't know. But this is a different side here, and we're on this side as well. Like I've been living in Canada and in the West forever. I've never, lived anywhere else. So, but these values that the West promotes is not something, because of their pride and smugness. This is not something that will easily let go of, and they're desperately holding on to something that was not entirely right all along, and now they're just even crumbling it more because they. In their blind attempt to convince the whole planet that they are right, and they have to create some kind of an anti-hero. So for Batman to be Batman, you have to have like some guy Dynamo on the other side, which is Putin in this case, in order to create this superhero, this strength that they are, this organized state of despair. So I'm not saying that Putin offers the state of bliss, so therefore none of they should work together. We don't have the capacity to know things that we need to know without loving all people. And this in this war is entirely, everybody's talking about how their own interests, how their own interests, how the interest of Germany, how the interest of America, what's the interest of Russia, what's the interest of Serbia, what's the interest of Belgium. So everybody's thinking about their own interests. This political structure, as I've mentioned before, is entirely created upon this concept. Politicians cannot rule beyond their country. So Uh, so they're made to be this way, and this is an entirely false concept. So all this political, jumble, everything that they're saying is just to protect some part of population, which is not which we should be fighting for, and that's why we're fighting, really. That's why we're fighting, because we want, we deserve, or you're more worthy of life than somebody else's, and this is impossible to maintain. Knowing what I know, I cannot accept this concept, and therefore, it's completely false to me. Now, I don't even want to talk about so the other consequences. Now that I know the other consequences, I'm speaking out about this. This Western system, how is it corrupt? It's corrupt by, by all these liberties and all these freedoms that we have, that we think we have, but we actually don't. Do we really choose who our presidents are? In the U.S., do they really have a choice on whether there's going to be like a war in Ukraine, whether somebody, do we really make any decisions? I mean, it's all rigged. They're tapping into our, lives. This is all heading in the wrong direction. The West has failed to provide the system which is going to be beneficial and which is going to spread around the world. And if you don't have this kind of system, you are bound to have enemies. So enemies this time is very powerful, as powerful as they are. So now they cannot enforce things anymore. So this is the benefit. This is somehow the benefit of this situation, is that they still absolutely think that they can, manipulate everybody into their own kind of a web, in which they're put into, and they don't even know, because, again, as I mentioned before. So this has to fall. I mean, if humans are to evolve, and we have to evolve, this has to pass, because this is from like 2,000 years ago, from 5,000 years ago, before Christ. This has been the way that people treat one another, and that they're allowed to think that they can judge who lives and who dies, and this is just not the case. So, because as we have seen, our judgments are really very, very, very poor, and they're based on nothing. They're based on manipulation and on and on complete lies. So to be honest to one another is difficult at this time, obviously, and they've helped us become estranged to one another, so that they now can manipulate us. So this is the situation we're in, and for the sake of this place and the future generation of people, who are going to be living in the system, to see how we are oppressed, so that they don't have to be oppressed this way. So there it is, because they will sponge from us. They will understand what we understand, what we want them to understand. And if we're to proudly tell them what that is, we have to seriously, reconsider this place. This era has begun now with this perhaps war. This wasn't supposed to go this way, because in the end, the indifference is so inbred that they are the ones who have to ultimately say, yeah, we are wrong. You can't be the one who you can be the one who tells them why, as I've tried, but in the end they will have to say, what, where this has led us. Have we, we've created a society where it matters whether you use a foam or I don't know, shaving cream, or whether you buy an iPhone or I don't know, or B phone. And so this whole thing has led us astray. We have to admit that we don't, kind of really attend to any kind of, we don't really, not too many of us can make any kind of decisions. Everybody's led from the top. We're not a healthy society in which we can, kind of really decide for ourselves. I'm not saying that, and basically you have like this 50% of the vote of who knows and who, it doesn't mean that the other 40% may not be right. It doesn't, you can have 99% consensus, which may be wrong. I mean, throughout history, how many, great people have been pretty much, their theories have been, completely, are completely outdated. So I don't know what to say. There has to be a change that affects everybody, and that change does have to include freedoms, where we can understand enough about coronavirus. We should have had like various conferences where thousands, if need be, medicine on both, personnel on both sides would confront opinions about whether the vaccine was proper, whether it was something that can help us. As it turns out, it is helping us. So it is helping a certain population, again, older people. Anyways, yeah, so, I mean, we've lost trust in one another completely. And we don't believe the politicians. We don't believe, the television. We've created a system where we are, very doubtful of what is being imposed upon us. And this is not something that is good for us. I mean, it is good, but I mean, I guess this is the story that will go on forever on the planet. I mean, I guess this will never change. But by me speaking is just to eliminate the aggression. I mean, this is something that's definitely, that I felt on my own skin, is a serious sin, for which people will pay tremendous price. If only this can be removed from the picture, and now then you have to deal with other things. So this story of greed is the story of a Western collapse, pretty much. Pride is also always there. So vanity is my favorite sin, as Al Pacino said when he played the devil. So so yes, I hope that people like completely fall out of this idea that they're winning some kind of a land, and that it belongs to them. The land belongs to everybody, so you're not born into it. You're not, by being born into it, you're not deserving of it in any way. Basically, your deeds begin like by you. You don't really have a legacy. I mean, the people wherever you're born, if you're born in Russia, the Russian legacy belongs to the people who lived during the creation of that legacy. So it does not belong to you. The Western rules of this crazy or whatever they may be, on both sides, they're there, and for them, your ancestors will either be are rewarded or they will be punished. It doesn't mean that any kind of war that was led. I mean, in essence, you cannot have any war. By Christ, even if there was a war, you're supposed to give up. You're not supposed to like even fight the war, because by fighting the war, you're becoming the war. You're becoming the war, and you cannot become the war. So, in order to protect something, you also have to be aggressive, which you can be. You're not allowed. This is of what kind of sense and what kind of gentleness I'm talking about when I speak of like to have the heavenly world which exists. People do not understand in what kind of state of mind they have to put. They have to be. They become. How this story doesn't actually really have a different. I mean, for me, there is no choice anymore, really. So I've decided to give my choice because I was fighting to God, because I was fighting him and it wasn't working. It just doesn't work. It cannot work. So I don't recommend this to anybody. I sincerely don't. So you've been warned. Have a good day.